Well, I'm from Miami, Florida. I was transferred here in 1976 by the May department stores. Thought I'd be here for a couple of years, but I fell in love with St. Louis and met Bob, and the rest is history.
Lucky me. I was raised here in St. Louis, and I used to ride the streetcar all the way downtown with my father to go to work. So my father was a Polish immigrant who was raised in a ghetto in Buffalo, New York, had a 10th grade education, became the president of International Retail Shoe Company. And so I was very fortunate to be raised in privilege here in Clayton, Missouri.
Education is the key to success, and for me, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my teachers. And so my focus was on helping make sure that all children had access to a high quality education, and that meant the teachers in the classroom. And so one of our first endeavors was to, one of my teachers, my favorite teacher in high school, when I took Build-A-Bear public, I wanted to contribute back to her and several other teachers, and none of them would take the money, but she said to me, give back to teachers. And so I did. I invested in Teach for America, which was attracting young people to the teaching profession that might not have otherwise considered it.
The first thing you have to do is get involved and meet people who have a like interest. You can't do it alone. So we got involved with Teach for America early, and also with the public school system. We were instrumental in getting Kelvin Adams to come here. So you have to get to know the people so you can make an impact.
Volunteer, in a school in your neighborhood. Volunteer. There's so many support organizations. So many companies in St. Louis have volunteer programs where they allow their associates, they don't lose any pay if they're going to go and volunteer. And so we have tons of people that volunteer at the United Way, at Urban League, at public schools. If you're interested in sports, they need coaches. There's so many things that are heartwarming. Boys and girls, Big Brothers Big Sisters needs volunteers. Boys and Girls Clubs need volunteers. We have tremendous resources.
And once you get involved, you meet people who are doing the work, and it's easy to find your way.
And you make new friends that you might not have had otherwise, that have common interests, that may not look like you or may not live in your neighborhood, but they become friends. And so you meet some common ground and go out to dinner and have a great time. That's probably one of the biggest rewards of all that we hadn't necessarily counted on, is all the new friends we've made in the last 25 years of people with like minds and like hearts, that together 1 + 1 can equal 1,000 instead of just 2, when you're all kind of have the common interest of a better St. Louis and family. I mean, it is really what's possible in St. Louis. It's not just that you meet someone who could be like your family, and that part is incredibly gratifying.
I've spent 16 years on the board of St. Louis University. Maxine's been over 20 years and still on the board at Washington University. So getting involved at higher education really makes a big difference too, because without quality education, no one's going to come to live in St. Louis. No young people. We have too many old people, not enough young people. The young people are leaving because they want to go someplace where they feel they have all these services and that their children are welcome in the community. We're trying to recreate that here in St. Louis.
There's so many things that are related to your health, whether it's your mental health or your physical health, that you start to learn in school, in elementary school. And if you don't get those things because they've cut them out of the budget, or the teacher doesn't know about them, or that doesn't have time to teach it, then you're missing some really important things that are integral to you having a full life.
And they also need culturally relevant education so they can relate to what they're reading and learning. And so sometimes education is focused on a different community, but it's taught in an underserved population, and the kids don't have any interest in it at all. So we've got to figure out how to get relevant educational content into our schools.
If anybody would have told me when I moved to St. Louis in 1976 that I would be telling you this story, you don't know, you can't plot it out exactly. You just have to go with your heart. And I think that's what we want to inspire children to do also, is to keep moving along that path towards whatever it is that you now find your heart is aching for, whether it's helping children or helping seniors or being in business, your own business, being an entrepreneur. We also want the region to thrive, and imagination, thinking big and having big ideas for the community, not thinking small, but thinking what could we be and how do we get there.